Hi guys, let's talk about the tribes of South Africa. Many people know about South Africa and perhaps know about the most famous tribe of South Africa, which is the Zulus. But there are other 9 or 10 or so other tribes. And today I'm just gonna go through them, and if you do not know much about the tribes of South Africa, by the end of this short video, I'm gonna try and make it as short as possible. You will have learned something. The first tribe is, of course, the Zulus, the most famous warriors of Southern Africa. Ask the British, they will tell you. This is the largest tribe in South Africa, and the most prominent and the most famous. But of course, there are other tribes, as I said before. And then we have the Khoisan, the oldest tribe in the world, as scientists say. I don't know, but scientists say that. They say they are the oldest tribe in the world. All I know is they are the oldest tribe in Southern Africa, in South Africa, Botswana, Namibia, and actually there is no this Khoisan thing. There's no tribe called the Khoisan. It's just a word that was coined by the British, not just the British. Let me say Europeans when they came here. They just uh, combined names of two tribes and make it one. They call them one tribe, but really those were two different tribes, although their languages sounded the same and they looked the same. And interestingly, this is where most black South African get their light skin from. And as you will see, this tribe is mostly light skin, uh, although they are not mixed with Europeans or Asians at all. As you will see, the hair type is different from any that you've seen. This is where you will see even most black South Africans, their hair is this type. Um, it's not like the type of hair you will see from West African, Ghanaians, Kenyans in the East. Uh, their hair is totally different, and and also uh, uh, as you can see the hair, as I was saying, you'll see most black South African hair is like this also, and they are also very small in size, and that's where also I'd say most South African, especially those who are mixed with the Khoisan a lot, the Tswanas, the Sothos, you realize they are most of them are small in size, and this is as I would say this is where during the genetic mixing with the Khoisan, that's how they got so small in size. And the Khoisan, I can actually make a totally different video about them. We can talk in an hour about who are the Khoisans, which tribes were classified as the Khoisans, and so on and so on. And then we have the Xhosa tribe, who I already said their click language borrows a lot from the Khoisan languages. Um, and then you have the Afrikaner tribe. I think it's just one A there. Um, Many people might disagree with me, but the Afrikaner are really now a tribe of South Africa, I believe, because they are not like the Dutch, they are not like the English, they are not like the French. They have develop their own culture and language that is unique to South Africa, borrowing, of course, largely from Dutch, German, French, Flemish, and some words from Malaysian, obviously from the Indonesian and Malaysian slaves that were brought to Cape Town. And in my opinion, they are a tribe of South Africa. Next is the Sothos, the South Sothos, not the South Sothos, the South Sothos. They are the mountain people who live in the mountains mainly, but uh, they are not really part, where they live isn't really a part of South Africa. It's a sovereign state, but that's a long topic that we will talk about some other day. And then we have the South African Indians, who are just Indians who came here first in the 1800s, brought by the British. Uh, they were not all slaves, some were slaves to work in the sugar canes, but others really were just businessmen or uh, uh, who came to sell uh, stuff, food, products, supplies to the Indians who were slaves in those times. So there's this misconception that all South African Indians came to South Africa as slaves, but that's not true. Of course, a certain number of them did, but some were really just businessmen. And the South African Indians are just Indians. They still really, I cannot. They, as I've realized, Indians are around the world. They are really. It's really hard for them to assimilate into any country they are into. They still keep their culture and uh, keep their customs, keep their religion for the most part, and really, uh, it will just be the language, like maybe the South African language is obvious. The South African Indians obviously don't speak the languages from India, Hindi, and all the others. But other than the language, they are usually just normal Indians for the most part. And the Swazi people, who are who I can say also where they live, Swaziland or Eswatini, now is not really part of South Africa, but the tribe is South African, is related to the other tribes in South Africa, as I will try and briefly explain later. There's a Swazi man there, and I think there's a king, Swazi king there also among. Next is the Tswana people, who are another prominent tribe in South Africa. Uh, they go all through to Botswana, and they are also related to the Khoisans in many, especially in looks, not so much in language, but that can be a topic we'll talk about some other day. I promise it will be a long topic. And then we have the colors, the mixed race people of South Africa. Of course, some people might ask, how are mixed race people a tribe, not part of the black community, or for some who choose part of the white community? There's a long story to this, which can be this subject of an entirely different video. But the mixed race people of South Africa have been were organized and coalesced into communities in order to become one community, So that's a long story actually, but I cannot say they are you cannot say they are Zulu or they are Xhosa, because most of them will have mixed race parents. Both parents are mixed race, and those parents have mixed race parents. So you understand, it goes all the way back to maybe the late 1800s, when white people decided that they were gonna take all mixed race kids from black people, uh, and then that's where it started. But like I said, this is a long story um, that I can make an entire video about. But of course, there are other mixed race people who do not want to be classified, or who do not want to be called coloreds. But most of them, especially those from Cape Town, are very happy to be classified as colored. And then we have the Paddy, or the North Sotho tribe. Most people call them Paddy, but actually Paddies are just a sub-tribe of the North Sotho tribe, because you have within the North Sotho tribes you have the Paddy, and then you have the Balubedu, and then all other tribes there. So uh, they are related to the Sothos and the Tswanas, as I'll try and add that later on. How does that work out? And Uh, this is one of the tribes that live in the same area as the Vendas in the northern part of South Africa. And then the Venda tribe from the northernmost part of South Africa, close to the Zimbabwean border. This is a tribe that I respect a lot. A small tribe. I think they are the most educated tribe in South Africa. Very humble, very smart, very hardworking. And when I was in the military some years ago, I know how strong they also are. And I can say they are also some of the biggest size in South Africa. In size, I think sometimes some people might mistake them for West Africans, but they're not West African. But if you don't know them, you might think they are West African, because most of them are big, and they are also the smartest. I think anybody who studied in a South African university will agree that most of them are very smart and hardworking. Then the Ndebele tribe, which is sometimes in Zimbabwe, uh, but from South Africa as well. And how they got to Zimbabwe, it can be another video also that we can talk about one day. But they are a well-known tribe in South Africa. And the Tsonga tribe. Personally, I have not met anybody who is Tsonga, and I cannot even, maybe if they talk, I will not tell you that that person is talking Tsonga. I only know some famous people, maybe who's that lady who sings? Uh, there's some South African lady who's a musician. She's Tonga. I don't remember her name, but it's not a big tribe. It's a small tribe along the border of Mozambique. I think their origins are Mozambican, but personally, I'm not gonna lie, I have not personally met anybody who is Tonga. Even when I was in South Africa, I did not meet anybody. Even in school, university, I never met anybody. Now, let's talk about South African tribes in terms of areas or provinces where they are originally from. Of course, they will not be just from that area, but originally or predominantly they will be from that area. The Zulus, of course, are from the KwaZulu-Natal province, which is here. This is where most of them are originally. Of course, they will spill over in the neighboring provinces, but of course, a significant number of them are in this province, the Gauteng province, which is the economical powerhouse of all provinces, and people will go here for jobs. This is where the mines are and big industries are. So obviously, all other people will move here to get employment and make some money. So this is where the Zulus are, and then the Swatis, they are from this area mostly, which is currently not part of South Africa, but this province is predominantly SWAZI, because it is close to this country, which by law is a country, but it's not really a country. Yeah. And then the Sothos come from here. Like I said earlier, this is the mountainous area in South Africa, which is a sovereign state of its own, and the Sothos come from here mostly. But this entire province is where the Sothos come from, the Free State province. You will find Sothos here. Of course, not only Sothos, but other tribes as well, but majority of people will be Sothos, and of course they will spill over here and in the neighboring provinces, of course, but predominantly they come from here. And the Tswana tribe, where this area is Botswana, who originally come from Botswana, but this province here is predominantly Tswana, and this province here is also predominantly Tswana. Of course, there are other tribes, but mostly African tribes who live here are Tswana. And then the Xhosa mostly come from this province, the Eastern Cape province, although there are Xhosas all over the country, but mostly they come from this province. And then also a significant number of them originate from here. This is the area where Cape Town is. And then there's North Sotho, and the North Sotho and the VENDA, of course, come from the northern province, or the Limpopo province, and this is where they mostly come from. But a significant number of them also, a significant number of the petty will be from Pretoria. This is, I think Pretoria is right about here. A significant number of this petty or the North Sotho tribe will be originate from here. And the Tsonga here somewhere, I guess, because this is close to the Mozambican border, because this area here is Mozambique. Most of the Tsongas will be from this area, I think in Limpopo, Giani, that town, they'll be from here. But of course, you'll still find Tsongas in other areas as well. And the Afrikaner tribe, which of course are Europeans who landed in Cape Town here in 1652, and later on the fur trekkers went into the interior, and then they started the Free State Republic and the Transvaal Republic. They are mostly, you'll find them here in the Karoo area and also in the Free State, but of course Afrikaners are all over the country. Mostly they are farming, feeding the country. Malema is not gonna agree with that, but that's my opinion. Originally, of course, from the Western Cape province, as of course this is where the Europeans landed in 1652, and then of course they expanded and went into the interior. but mostly they'll be in this area. And the Khoisan, and when I say the Khoisan, I'm talking about the Khoisan, not the Calots. The Khoisan in the desert areas of the Northern Cape, into Namibia, into Botswana. This is where you'll find them mostly, especially in Namibia, in the parts of Botswana, and parts of the Northern Cape. Who else? And then the Coloureds. The Coloureds, of course, most are here in Cape Town, but in every city and every town in SA, there is a colored community. Of course, in here, all over, in every city, in every town, there is, but majority are in the Northern Cape. But mostly, I remember when I was in the Northern Cape here, you will not, in some instances, tell who is Tswana and who is colored because of the languages. Anybody can speak any language and anybody can look. However, also in terms of the names, it doesn't mean if somebody has a Dutch last name, automatically they will be colored in the Northern Cape. It's just when I realized when I was in the military, I spent a lot of time in the Northern Cape, in Kimberley, in Postmasburg, in Olifantshoek. I spent a lot of time here. Those small towns, I know most people never even heard about them. I also did not know about them till when I was in military 20 years ago, and I used to travel a lot in these areas. And one of the things I realized was it's hard to tell here who's colored and who's Tswana, as people here can speak any language most of the time and can look anyhow. They can look African, but they don't classify as African. They can look colored, like almost close to being a white person, but they classify as Tswana. It was just one of the things I realized when I was there. And which tribe did I not talk about? And South African Indians are mostly in this area and this province mostly. There's a city here called the largest city in the KwaZulu-Natal province, Durban. That's where most Indians are. However, a lot of them have spread out throughout the country, but in this province, in some towns in this province, you will really think you are in India in some neighborhoods, and that is where, because as that's where the British in the 1800s, like I said earlier, excuse me, that's where the Indians landed when they first came to South Africa, and this is where they settled. Yeah, and then another thing that comes is how the tribes are related to each other. And then you will see there's Nguni tribes which are classified as the Nguni, who are the Zulu, the Xhosa, the Swazi, and the Ndebele. And these tribes, mostly their languages are the same, more or less the same. A Zulu person can go to a Swazi area, he will hear what they are saying, he will understand the language. Even a Zulu person, a Xhosa person can go to an area mostly occupied by Zulus, he will understand the language and they will be able to communicate. Same as the Ndebeles, because these tribes have a similar origin where they come from, so their languages are very similar. And then you have the SOTHO tribes, and also these tribes, their languages are more or less the same. A South Sotho person, somebody who speaks the South Sotho, can move here and they will understand the language. These people who are not Sotho will understand him, same as somebody who's basically from Botswana can move to an area that is predominantly South Sotho, but he will understand what they are saying. There will be some differences here and there, but they will mostly understand each other. More like, let me say, maybe like Spanish from Spain, Spanish from Argentina, Spanish from Mexico, which will be different. That will be different, and their accents will be different, but they will understand each other. People who speak Spanish, whether they live in California or they live in Argentina, they live in Spain, they live in Colombia, they'll understand each other, but their accents are different, and there's also some differences in some words. And the Khoisan, like I said earlier, there is no tribe that is called the Khoisan. It's just a term that was coined by using this tribe and this tribe. There's two tribes, but there's also other tribes that were classified as the Khoisan, like the Damara, who usually are from predominantly from Namibia, and other tribes as well. And then Europeans just came in, they saw people who looked almost the same and their languages sounded almost the same, and then they just called them the Khoisan. It's more like, imagine you went to Europe and then you just looked at the Spanish and the Italians and you just gave them some name like, okay, I'll call you this. But while those people have a different culture, their languages are different. That's more or less what the Europeans did. And then, of course, there's the Tsonga, the Venda, like I said, the smartest tribe in South Africa, who are from the north. And then the Tsonga, who I admitted I do not know much about because I have never met, even when I was in the military, I never met anybody who was from, who was Tsonga, because actually my first time meeting a Venda person was in the military and a good friend of mine, and I got to, hear the language and learned a lot. Later on when I left the military and went to university, then that's when I discovered, oh wow, Venda people are actually very smart. Yeah. Uh, of course, this is a short video, not so short, 21 minutes, but there's a lot more we can say about the tribes of South Africa, which of course I did not cover here. And most of the things I said are my opinions, and other people might have different opinions, or not different, but maybe just to add on what I've said. And please comment below and correct me where I'm wrong and add where you think I left some things off. All right, thank you for watching.